Hello, so welcome back to another video, and today we are at Isleham doing the BE Novice. It's quite warm and the UK hasn't had any rain for a while, but they've done a really good job with the grounds and the soil on the cross-country course, so we shall be running cross-country today, hopefully. Ruff is quite relaxed this morning. It's very early. I woke up at 3:30 to get here and wash and pat him in the morning, and we arrived for 6:30, so it was a very early start. Dressage is at pretty much 9 o'clock in the morning, and it's the same dressage test as we did for Tweedledown, and he did quite a nice test there, so I'm looking forward to improving on that today. The show jumping arena is really lovely and big here, so that's something to look forward to, but built quite up to size, and cross country seems a very nice and inviting course. However, a few tricky combinations out on course, which I'm excited to tackle with him, and hopefully he's a good boy today and we finish safe and sound and we don't die of heat stroke. Hello and welcome back to another YouTube video. Here Ruffian and I are entering the centre line at Isleham in the novice section, and as mentioned earlier we are doing the same test that we did at our last event at Tweedledown, and it is the 110 2012 novice test. We scored a 26.5 in this dressage test, and I actually decided to go sitting trot for the whole of this test, just to give myself a little bit of a challenge. I actually treated this day as a bit of a schooling day, as we have all our MERs to possibly move up to an intermediate, maybe at the end of the season, and we are off to Gatcombe in a couple of weeks in the novice. But yes, this test I thought was a little bit lethargic and a little bit inaccurate. As you could see, the centre line wasn't quite straight. That canter transition that you've just seen was meant to be over the centre line, and it was a little bit before. But I was really happy in how relaxed he was, so possibly through his relaxation he just felt a little bit lethargic, but actually watching the video back he does look quite active. And again, trotting over the centre line, which was pretty good, and trying to keep him nice and relaxed, and then preparing for our walk. And again, in the walk I thought he was just a little bit behind the leg, so you can really see me there trying to move him along. But yes, preparing for our free walk on a long rein in the corner. I must say this was probably one of his best free walks. I felt him really stretching and really going for it with his neck. He went nice and low, so I was very, very pleased with that. And sadly I was not able to collect my dressage sheet at the end of the day, so I don't know exactly what I scored on that movement, but I was really happy with that. And then just gathering my reins nice and quietly, trying to keep him relaxed before our upwards transition to trot. And luckily this time he did just go to trot rather than popping in a walk to canter transition, which he did at Tweedledown. And then if I remember correctly, again coming round to our canter transition over the centre line, he very unluckily had a bit of a slip. Now I didn't actually put studs in Ruffian at all day, because the ground has been quite hard. However, the ground at Isleham was really nice and sandy, and I felt as though it was perfect going conditions, and I think I was just very unlucky in that upwards transition. Maybe I just hadn't had him balanced enough, but the other phases were absolutely fine and he didn't slip over once. So I think in the dressage I was just a little bit unlucky. Going on to our second medium trot there, which I think was definitely better than my first. I really went for it, and yes, preparing for the last couple of movements, coming up the centre line and then halting at G, which I believe he stood nice and still for, and he was a very good boy. And then straight on to our show jumping round, as we had a very, very quick turnaround after dressage coming to the show jumping, which left me without very much warm-up. I think I managed to jump about 4 fences before coming into this round, which left us knocking the first fence down, which was a rustic spread. And I must say I could really barely see the fence because of the light. I think we were jumping into the sun. And yeah, so it was just very unlucky first pole, and I do not think it reflected on our round at all. But but I did come around that corner counter canter, coming into that double of uprights because I couldn't change, and he felt balanced enough to jump through that double nice and clean, which he did. I made total use of the large arena just to keep the canter going and having a good strong canter, which allowed for him to jump really super and get a good stride before each fence. And he jumped through that line really well. And that blue spread, I must say, was one of the largest on the course, and he jumped that no problem. And then coming down this treble and got a good shot in to a one stride and then to a two stride. And then very cheekily they put an upright right at the end, so I made sure to balance, and he jumps the last jump really super and just unlucky with that first fence. Right, so I didn't have time to do my dressage and my show jumping to update on the dressage, but I did my first ever full sitting trot test, and I felt a little unbalanced in my saddle. I'm in a jump saddle, so it's quite hard to do, but I got a 26 dressage, which I was really happy with, bearing in mind he really slipped coming into one of the canter transition, but he did a nice test and I was really happy with him. And then show jumping, it was just such a quick turnaround. I had like 4 warm-up fences and I had to go in, which wasn't ideal, but he jumped really lovely, and I don't think we were both awake for the first fence, and it was a rustic first fence and I couldn't really see it coming in because of the sun, so I think we just missed on the first fence, but he jumped a really lovely round after that, and almost clear round, but just unlucky first fence down. I always hate having the first or the last fence down, it's just really irritating. And now we've got an hour between our show jumping and cross country, so I'm now going to give him a wash off because it's really hot, and give him some hay, and then we shall walk over to the cross country and give it a go. And finally the cross country, Ruffian and I did a super clear inside the time at Isleham in the Novice. We both just had so much fun doing the cross country. He did all the tricky combinations really great and really careful for me, and through all the galloping his ears were pricked forward, and he just absolutely loved going around the cross country this day, and had plenty of running right at the end, so I was really happy with him, and these kind of cross country rounds is what it's all about. Right, so we have finished for today, and he was excellent cross country. You know those rounds that you just thoroughly enjoy and you have a good time. That was one of the rounds today, cross country. He's just great. He wasn't out of control. I had full control with him. I didn't put studs in him. The ground's really great here, despite the heat. And he jumped all the questions asked. He jumped the chicana. We did all the straight routes, and we went clear inside the time. So shame about our first fence down in show jumping, but it happens to the best of us. But yes, the ground was really good, no studs used, and he jumped super and really confidently through the water, and there was a really fun combination coming into the woods right at the end of the course. I think it was fence 16, 17 A and B, where you jumped into the woods and then quite a steep slope, coming out of the woods, up a step, 2 strides to a very skinny corner, and he jumped that perfect. He did it on the 2 strides, and I was a bit nervous about it walking the course as it was so late on in the course, and the heat. I thought, oh, maybe he might run out of fuel, but he did that combination perfectly. I couldn't school over it better. So really, really pleased with him, and he's caught his breath back. He's had his ice boots, he's had plenty to drink, and he's just eating his food with some electrolytes in it now. I don't think he could be happier. So thank you all so much for watching, and we shall see you when we head to Gatcombe for another Novice. Ruffian and I ended up placing second in quite a competitive section in our Novice, and I couldn't be happier with him. Thank you all so much for watching.